All right, rewind the clock back a bit here at Built On Board HQ in the sunny coast. One thing I wanted to change for a long time is the Bullbar, because these are the older style patrols. Now, a lot of these new dual cabs and that have a modern style bar. I really wanted to try and adapt that modern look onto an older style patrol. So let me take you to the car and show you kind of what I had in mind. So what I actually did a while ago was Photoshop what I wanted it to look like. And I kind of looked at that image for a few weeks on my phone and decided that's what I wanted to do. So essentially the plan is to chop all of these hoops off here. We're going to cut out a middle section and kind of rake the sides in and do a small bar just in here, and then put 3 spotlights on there, and that will open up this grille area. So it'll look real mean and fat to have that fat grille, but it also helps the airflow getting more into the radiator. Now with the sides, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I could possibly cut the sides in and try and actually tuck these wings in a bit to get the bull bar closer to the headlights and follow that curve. So it could be a case of cutting those top sections off, notching it out in the middle and trying to bend it in a little bit. And I reckon that would just kind of dress up this patrol to look a lot more modern and make it more look like a steel bumper rather than a big ugly bull bar. So let's get into it. Sam from Built On Board. Okay, so now that I've got these hoops out of the way, I can get a bit more of an idea and a visual of what is going to happen next. Now what I'm thinking is, instead of cutting there, I might open it a bit wider, because I was looking at the car and the grille's actually quite wide. So it's almost like where the headlights rake down, I'll follow that line through. And what that also means is I'll actually be cutting out this hole that I've created here, which saves me having to weld it up later. I reckon that looks pretty damn good. What I also paid special attention to was this housing for the winch. Now I wanted to retain the integrity of that, so that bottom bar and this top bar, that is what gives the strength to the winch, and then these mounts go to the chassis. So everything that we're playing with here is really just the aesthetics of the bull bar. So I think next what I want to do is take my bull bar off and do a bit of a mock-up and get this on here and see if I really want to actually do any changes with these wings here and bring the sides in. Alright, so we've got the bull bar somewhat mocked up on the front now, so I've taken the original one off and now I can sort of look at the shape that I want to try and achieve. So what I want to sort out today is pretty much plating this section off, and I bought myself a bit of tube and I'm going to bend it up and create that front crossbar. Now while it's also on here, I want to look at these wings, because I was mentioning I wanted to tuck them in. So they already sort of follow the angle of the headlight, but when you're looking at the front of the bull bar, it actually goes out a bit further. So I might look at tucking it in from the front there and bringing this corner closer to the headlight, and then we're going to have to open up this back wing and tuck it back a bit further. That's if I can be bothered, of course.
Today, I'm down at Luxfab, so I got Lockie. Give us a wave down the back. Yeah. So Lockie's actually, he messaged me ages ago, and he's been doing exhaust, working out of his shed at home, and just recently he's come into this new workshop. That's why there's a lot of space going on and a bit of building happening in the background. So everyone loves a good success story, and now that I'm in Queensland, I was finally able to bring the car over to, what's the place called? Pennyworth? Pensworth. It's near Toowoomba, so a nice little 3-hour drive this morning, and he's got some awesome ideas for sorting the exhaust out. Like the one that was in there was 3 years old, looking a bit worse for wear, and I was having issues with the all the joins were basically splitting open, burning through gaskets. So a lot of these new exhausts use like the Y bands, joins, V bands, whatever they're called, but it'll mean this thing's sealed a lot better. And I'm also trying a new thing. I got this thing called a Varex muffler as well, which is basically, I'll get a shot of it, but it's a muffler that has a little flap inside. So for me, I do longer drives, and if I'm going across a nullarbor or anything that's longer than like an hour, you guys know I chuck the earplugs in because the thing's that noisy. So with this valve, I should be able to shut it if I've got to take a phone call or something and just cruising down the highway in top gear. So we're going to be running that muffler. From what I've heard, there's a lot of different things that I wasn't even aware of about distances, like placement of different mufflers and things in the system. So he definitely knows his stuff when it comes to exhaust. So we've spent a couple of hours here, we've got the old stuff out. So I'll run through some shots, get some shots tomorrow. We're going to be doing a lot of the actual welding and putting the thing together, but today's been a lot of planning and sorting out how this thing's going to run. So we'll see what the day brings us tomorrow and how the system sounds in the end. All right, quick update. We've done a bit more progress. We've got the first section in from basically the headers back to the car and got the muffler in. The muffler is a bit of muck around with the angle. It's quite heavy because it's got that valve inside, so it's a lot heavier than like a standard muffler. So I've had to add a couple of mounts on that. After that, done like a Y piece, which is different to where it was before. Before there was like a straight through section to the back and then another piece that kind of teed off. What he's done is actually done like a symmetrical Y piece, kind of bend either way, so it gives even, I guess, exhaust to either side, whereas before it was kind of more kind of weighted to one side. So that'll help the flow a lot better. Pretty much tacking up that back section now, almost ready to pull it out, get it laid out on the ground so we can show you guys, I guess, the full system. And then it's just welding to finish it all off.
Where old meets new.
Alrighty, we're pretty much there. We burnt the midnight oil a little bit last night, but got there in the end. So this is sort of the finished result. Lockie, where you going? So what have we got here?
Pretty much just went 3.5 inch off the back of the extractors into your, what's the muffler again?
Verex X4,
Verex,
so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, went from 3.5 inch into dual 3s, and then obviously 2 resonators just to try and keep it down a bit. And then Sam wanted some big 4-inch tips, so had to expand it back up to 4 inch just to get the tips in.
So pretty much the last thing to do, we'll put it in the car and just get that little tail on there. But the idea behind that is when my new tray's on, all this will sort of be covered and you'll just see the big tips hanging out the back. So, but we didn't want to do the whole thing in 4 inch, just, you know, to keep an eye on the back pressure with these petrol motors. So I don't know, definitely a step up from what was in there. I don't know if you could hear the difference there, but I was playing with the button. You can definitely hear a massive difference when you shut the valve. So it was like a little nana's car. Oh my God, I tell you what, the last couple of days I've seen some amazing workmanship. If you want to check out LuxFab, I'll put his website down below because he's going to do a lot of orders online, obviously being out in Toowoomba here. But definitely if you've got a Hilux, check out the page as well because that's where this whole thing started. But he's starting to do a lot more other vehicles now, so definitely go and check it out. I'm going to go for a long drive home, not get a headache, hopefully, 3-hour drive back. And yeah, bit to do this afternoon. Let's get into it.
The next day.
Alright, so I decided to completely change the design of this bar. Remember last time I wasn't happy with the way the corners were sitting. So I've gone for more of a slanted design now, brought those sides down. I may or may not use this hole for an indicator, I don't know. If I do, it's gonna have to be extended. So it's just tacked up roughly now. I've put some bracing on the back there. Just go around and fully weld it and then clean it up. I don't want to have it sort of that welded look, so I'm gonna grind it back so when it's powder coated it sort of looks like it's more of just a bent up bar. So that's what we're doing. I've kept obviously that front section we made earlier in this episode, but that was actually months ago. So I'll keep that. I just need to put some tabs on here because I wanted to run 3 spotties across the front. And then it's just sorting out that bigger grill that can sort of house that new space that's been created down here. So righto, my bull bar, I've just spent the last couple of hours grinding like crazy, welding like crazy. So on this side you can see it kind of welds there. That's how it's got its penetration through those sections. But then I'm going to come back with a grinder and really finish it off to make it look flush. So when it's powder coated, it looks like it's kind of just a bent up bar rather than having these ugly welds just bulging everywhere. So I don't know, what do they say? Grinding and paint makes the welder I ain't.
All right, we are back in the workshop now. Done a little bit more since I was down at Lockie's place. So we've added on these tabs for the spotties. So I'm gonna be running 3 spotties, a triple spotlight. That design has stayed from the start. But these wings here, so I've sort of cleaned them up, just filled in a little bit more of the gaps in there with the welder that was there. Now I've got these, oh, where are they? Oh, grab. Now these are actually a progressive indicator. So they sort of, when you turn them on, they run up. Right, it's sort of like the Audi look, what they do with a lot of these modern cars. Now, I'm kind of in 2 minds about where to put these. I'm thinking the indicators on the side bit here, cut a slot and obviously put them behind. I don't think I want them on the front because they kind of stick out a bit, look a bit shit. So that's sort of the last thing to do. And then get this thing out of here, coat it up, ready to go on the car. But one thing I will say is I'm not going to show you the finished product today or the powder coating because there's a couple little more special things, and next episode is going to be a super special episode. We're going to be sort of unveiling the new look of the Patrol, so stay tuned for next week where we'll see the finished product of the bar on the car and pretty much the whole thing finished, ready for next year. So I think we'll leave you guys with this one. Make sure to subscribe, keep an eye out for next week's episode. It's going to be a cracker. We'll see you guys there. Hello guys and welcome to Built Not Bought HQ. Make sure to click on the far left to subscribe to the channel. Click down below to see the latest episode if you missed it. And don't forget our merchandise on our website. See you in the next episode.